Another duly noted podcast comes to you from the Coach's Podcast Room at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill in Celebration Point. Okay, and welcome into another duly noted podcast presented by Titan MRI from the Meldon Law Gator Studios. Appreciate everybody who watches and listens. We'll have a great guest. Coach Spurrier will be on today. He's back after his little trip, and we'll also have, I said Friday we're going to try to get Dennis Dodd to talk about this scheduling thing, and we are going to have him on Friday. That'll be cool. Today on Yes, Nowhere, maybe Jeff Cardozo subbing in for Robbie. Robbie's on a vacation kind of type of deal. So Jeff Cardozo, we'll talk a little baseball with him and some other stuff. So we got a jam-packed show for you today. I was up very late last night because that storm. Man, that storm, I've never had thunder that loud that my dog came running in and jumped in the bed. He's never done that. He's like 7 or 8 years old. It was so loud. And then I literally at 2:30 in the morning, I'm watching this incredible light show. It never went dark. It was just, I was worried that there was going to be a tornado or something. But anyway, it's still raining here in lovely Gainesville. But it'll be out of here pretty soon. If you're listening to this, it's probably already left. All right, it is time for us to do as we always do every Monday and Friday to do the Handlaw starting lineup. The starting lineup is presented by Handlaw, a Florida law firm which helps clients with government. You can learn more about Handlaw by visiting its website at www.hand.law. The firm is available for consultation in Jacksonville. So let's start off with the biggest story here, to be honest, is the NIT that Florida got in the NIT. It's not a big surprise. I'll give Jeff Cardozo credit. When Florida was getting ready to play LSU, he said, if Florida wins this game, they're going to get in the NIT. And I'm like, I don't think so. And he said he felt the brand would get him in. And I go, no, they're not going by brand. But then I started studying, and I went, wait, if you have 68 teams, then you got to get 30. That's 100 teams. Florida's in the top 100 in every metric you can come up with. Yeah, they're going to get in. I didn't think they'd be as high a seed. They're actually seeded as a 4 seed. So great. Wednesday at 7 o'clock, UCF. Now, it's almost like they're trying to make UCF equal. Everybody's trying to make UCF equal with Florida by continually making them play Florida. The irony also is that I think the Florida UCF series next year is going to be moved back in football, but that's neither here nor there. At any rate, Florida gets another chance to play basketball. You get another chance to watch them. A lot of you may not want to watch them again. It's on ESPN2, so it's regular cable. In my opinion, that's what I call regular cable. But here's a stat for you. You can tell to your friends that I was thinking about as I was laying in bed last night, and I got up and looked up to make sure I was right about this. And I'm 99% sure I'm right. No first-year coach in the history of Florida basketball has gone to the NCAA tournament. Not one. 0. You know who's gone to the NIT? 2. Todd Golden and Mike White, the last 2 coaches. That's it. But Billy didn't go to the tournament. Norm Sloan had 2 chances to go to the tournament. Never went. Of course, it was a lot harder for him. But they never go. So, don't be overwhelmed with 16 of 16. And it also puts into play the possibility that I talked about a long time ago, Florida could end up with losing records in the 2 biggest sports because if they lose, they go to 16 of 17. So they need to get 1 win to keep that from happening. But the NIT is kind of like a bowl game, a lesser tier bowl game, a very lesser tier bowl game. You know what it's like? It's like the Las Vegas Bowl. The irony being, of course, I guess it's coincidence. My wife always gets on me about irony versus coincidence. The coincidence is the NIT now is in Vegas. I had no idea that was true. North Carolina said no, we're not coming. Don't invite us. We won't go. That's their decision. I don't care whether they were playing anymore this year. I was just rooting for them not to play in the tournament just because it was historic, to have a team that was number 1 and then not even make the tournament in the preseason. But here are some other teams that are in the NIT because I hear this all the time. This shouldn't happen at Florida. We should never be in the NIT 2 years ago. All right, here's teams that are in the NIT this year. Villanova, remember them? Villanova's in there. Oregon, who has become kind of a blue blood out there on the West Coast. Michigan, Michigan. So, it happens all over the place. And, of course, Vandy is in there, too. And I don't mean Vandy being a blue blood or anything like that. But when I saw the seed on Vandy, man, they're a 3 seed. You better play good early in the year. And that was good. And that also goes back to I want to talk about A&M, and number 2 on the hand-loss starting lineup is the big tournament. How A&M, a 7 seed, really? Have you watched any of their games? Are you out of your mind? So they went, what'd they go, 17-6 in the SEC. No, 17-5 in the SEC. Or maybe, no, 17-4 in the SEC. I'm sorry, I get that right. When you count the regular season games and the tournament. I know they were terrible in the pre-conference, and I know it counts, and I know it matters. But what should matter the most is how you were playing now and how you did in a conference that got 8 teams in. Florida, it was the number 8 seed in the SEC tournament, as we know. And Florida had no chance to get in. But they got 8 teams still in. And because Mississippi State beat Florida, Mississippi State doesn't beat Florida, they don't get in. So that Florida loss helped the SEC. Florida wasn't going to get in. But the point, I just can't believe A&M got that seed. Alabama has got such an easy regional. And when you're the 1, you should have an easy regional. That's why you're the number 1 overall. A lot of people complain about Kansas being the 3 and 3rd number 1 seed instead of the 2nd. I totally agree. I think it's a farce. And it does matter because Kansas would have played in Kansas City when they get to the Sweet 16, but now they have to go to, I think it's Vegas, actually, which isn't bad. But you'd rather play in Kansas City where your fans can go. So I don't think, they definitely didn't get that right. There were some snubs. Rutgers, Oklahoma State, I don't get that. You get 6 quality wins, Q1 wins, and you don't get in. Well, they also had 12 Q1 losses, and they said, well, the argument was they had a lot of chances. They only won 6 games. There's a lot of teams that didn't win 6 games that are in the tournament, 6 quad 1 games. In fact, I would think a heck of a lot of them. So clearly, and the fact that Kansas won, what they win, 17 or 16 quad 1 wins, the fact that they field dissed anyway, tells you that the quad 1 didn't really matter that much. It wasn't as big a deal. Maybe the net is not as big a deal as we make it out to be. We'll see. All right, number 3, and we'll talk more about the tournament. But number 3, the SEC tournament was so much fun, and then it fell totally flat over the weekend. I don't know what you guys watched, but it wasn't easy to watch. It was just boring games. There were blowouts. It's a shame. It was so good until then. And really, all the tournaments were not as much fun when they get to the semis and the finals. For some reason this year, we didn't have those classic games the way we kind of usually do. And on top of that, the players wasn't that good. So I was stuck at home. I've got a little injury here, a little wrist injury, and I'm hoping still to be able to play golf Wednesday. But it wasn't good. You need to do better. Give me more entertainment when I'm at home. Although we did watch the first 3 episodes of History of the World Part 2. Funny, not great, not as good as History of the World Part 1, but there's some really good jokes. Let me put it that way, really good jokes. Maybe they're not delivered properly. And once Kentucky and Miami both got beat, I was pretty much set for the rest of the week. I was in pretty good mood after that. Let's go number 4 on the hand-loss starting lineup to Gator baseball. They do get the sweep over Siena, which you expected, but nobody expected that Friday night game. 3-2, the Gators win. The 2 teams left like 25 men on base. That was kind of a wake-up call, I think, for Florida. And from that point on, they were dominant and destroyed them. Caglione with a couple of homers. He is now, right now, and again, we're 18 games in. He is hitting .415 with 13 homers and 30 RBI. .416 with 13 homers and 30 RBIs, and he's 3-0 as a pitcher. This is heady stuff. Now, he's still there. It's going to get serious now. You got Alabama coming in. You got to go on the road for some games. They really haven't had to do much on the road. You know, the USF, JU, big deal. So we'll see how good these guys are. But what he's doing now, they had some injuries this week. We'll see how healthy they're able to be for the Alabama series. I think maybe they were precautionary to a point. So we'll see what happens there. But certainly they've been very impressive so far. And they can hit, they can rake, and we'll just see if it continues. And if they can pitch a little better in the middle relief. The whole thing is out there for Gator baseball, and we know it. And one of those things is the home run record, 40, I think it's 48. Pete Incaviglia had it a long time ago, season record. That's hard. That's going to be hard for him to get at 13. But the SEC record's 40. He's got a shot at that. And, of course, the Florida record's 26, which was tied last year by Wyatt Langford. And then, so number 5 on the hand-loss starting lineup is Gator softball, which I'm still kind of confused about them. It looks like they're good, but I don't know how good they are. For example, they lose to Louisiana in their tournament, the Bubbly tournament, 1-0, and come back and run rule them in the next game, the next day. That says a lot about them in a positive way, but that they got to be 1-0. You know, this is kind of like with baseball, with softball. I'm in the same boat. I don't know how good this team is. I think they're pretty good. They may be real good. Do they have a chance to be great? I don't know the answer to that. I really don't. I don't know if they have a dominant enough pitcher. But last year, if you remember, I was one of those people that was not high on them late in the season. Did not see any possibility of a run in the postseason. They go all the way to Oklahoma City. What do I know? But both these are really good teams, both softball and baseball, and can they be great? That's what we have to find out. And we also have to find out what we're going to do next. You know what it is, though. Coach Spurrier will be in here. We'll talk to him about the rain, the park, and other things here on another duly noted podcast presented by Titan MRI from the Meldon Law Gator Studios. Hello there, everybody. I'm Pat Dooley, of course, from another duly noted podcast. This is a great Adam Brewer, and he's just opened up a place here, Adam Brewer To Go. What gave you the idea to do this, to have a to-go place like this?
We really like the fast concept, being able to get the barbecue. Now we have this new online ordering. So before it was a call ahead carry out, quick service. We have like a curbside kind of a deal where, everything's ready to go for you. And then we thought, wow, we have a really great dine-in concept, but how can we make this streamlined for the customer and make it easy and accessible for all parts of town?
Adam's Rib Co. To Go. Come on down and enjoy it.
Great food, great atmosphere, a diverse menu, everything made from scratch, plenty of space, and locally owned. These are all the characteristics of a great restaurant, and you can find each and every one of them right here in Gainesville at Ballyhoo Grill. Ballyhoo Grill prepares all of their food fresh every day, from their salad dressing to their award-winning soups. Bring your family and enjoy dinner under the Tim Trebo Tiki Hut while listening to live music. Or if you're running low on time to eat out, they also deliver through Uber Eats, Bite Squad, and Postmates. A Gainesville staple that's been open for over 30 years. Check out Ballyhoo Grill on Facebook or at ballyhoogrill.com.
Things have certainly got a little out of hand lately when it comes to just buying our everyday necessities. Just look at gas, streaming services, and heck, even chicken wings. Well, there is one necessity that shouldn't cost a ton: taking care of yourself and helping fix all the aches and pains in life, and the fine folks at Titan MRI agree. With costs a fraction of what you'd pay at a hospital, you'll not only save money, you'll be taken care of by staff with over 20 years experience. So when you need an MRI, call Titan first, and you can go where your doctors send their families. Now offering CAT scans.
Pat Dooley's Storytime is brought to you by Eastlake Pediatrics. Nobody knows how to provide pediatric health care for little Gators better than Dr. Mike and the other board-certified pediatricians and the pediatric nurse practitioners of Eastlake Pediatrics. They have been providing personalized health care to the children of Pinellas, Pasco, and Hillsborough counties since 2004. And with the recent addition of Dr. Chris, who is also board certified in sports medicine, they are now offering care for youth sports injuries as well. To learn more about Eastlake Pediatrics, call 727-372-6760. And to get to know them better, listen to Dr. Mike and Dr. Carey on their Peds and Pop podcast on multiple platforms.
Is your bank dropping the ball, not playing with heart or skill? Then you need to check out the scouting report on Campus USA Credit Union. That's a 5-star recruit if I've ever seen one. Campus has it all, like great rates and products, friendly service, and smart game plans for you and your money. So why not put some star power in your financial life? Visit campuscu.com or any campus service center today.
Honey, can I recruit you to take the garbage out?
Jeffrey, what are you doing?
Well, I'm joining the band, of course. Since Meldon Law is the official law firm partner of the Florida Gators, I want to help.
Dad, we're litigators. Let's stick to helping people in the courtroom.
Well, can we still hang out and jam a little bit? At Meldon Law, we won't back down.
The games of the week and the games of the weekend every week are brought to you by the Ben Eige team at Odell Realty. Ben Eige graduated from the University of Florida in 1998. He and his team now help Gators find vacation homes in western North Carolina that also double as investment properties. Ben and his team have helped many folks take advantage of the incredible opportunities in mountain homes that also produce amazing returns on investments. Ben Eige and his team at Odell Realty go the extra mile to find properties and evaluate their income potential for their clients. Maybe you've thought of buying a home that can be used as short-term rental via Airbnb or Vrbo, generate income for you, and be a place for your family to vacation. Or you may just be looking for a great way to expand your real estate investment portfolio. All right, welcome back to another duly noted podcast presented by Titan MRI from the Meldon Law Gator Studios. And, of course, all of Coach Spurrier's appearances on Mondays, Meldon Mondays, because Meldon Law is also a sponsor of Coach's appearances here. We appreciate them for that. And, Coach, you were off for a little, I don't know, I guess, would you call it a vacation or just a junket?
A little bit of both, I think. About 6 months ago, I got a flyer in the mail at the office, and it was about a trip to Sedona, Arizona. You get to see the Grand Canyon.
Yeah.
You see all those Indian relics where they used to live in the cliffs and all that. And it was really interesting. So I said, Jerry, let's go do that. We'll fly out there and back, about a 5-day trip. So, yeah, it was a fun trip. It's one of those trips you do it once.
Yep.
I don't have to do it again.
No,
Yeah.
and I did
Yeah.
the same thing a couple of years ago. And did you go to that church way up on the top of a mountain? There's a church up there that's really, really cool.
We may have.
Yeah.
We went somewhere up top of the mountain there.
Sedona's unbelievable, but you're right.
Yeah.
I loved going there. That's it for me, though. I'm done.
Yeah, you've done, that's what I said. I've done this once. I don't need to do it again. But it was just interesting, the landscape. There's
Yeah,
a little town
incredible.
called Jerome, Arizona, that's halfway up the mountain. And there it is. It just looks down on the whole valley and everything. It's sort of just a tourist place now. You know, in the old days, it was a mining town or whatever. But there was a lot of interesting places and sights to see. So I'd recommend it to anybody who wants to take a 5-day
Absolutely.
trip.
So you went to the Grand Canyon?
Oh, yeah.
That was impressive.
That was the top. That was
Yeah.
the top event, I think, for everybody on the trip. It's a massive place there. Amazingly, they say that the canyon swallows about 20 people a year.
Really?
You know, these crazy dumbasses
Yeah.
that like to hang around the edge and take a picture and slip down.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
they
yeah.
lose about 20 a year, they say. So I kept about my 10-yard distance from that edge.
That was me, and and my daughters were there, both of my daughters, and they were getting like near the edge, and I had to leave. I couldn't watch them get near the edge because my wife was there, and she would make sure nothing happened, but I couldn't. It was so nerve-wracking.
You'd think they'd have guardrails.
Yes,
handrails,
I know.
But they did not. No, it's you can get right over there and do that if you.
It's like
but
driving up to Pikes Peak. There are no guardrails.
Yeah,
you're
Make a
you're off
bad
the
turn.
edge.
Yeah, you're rolling.
Did you see any elk up there?
Yeah, we did see a few elk and
Yeah.
so forth.
They were hanging around our hotel.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so that's cool.
Yeah.
That's good. It's
And
good.
then have a train ride. You get on a train,
Yeah.
and you can ride about 2 hours here, there, and the other. So it was a neat little trip.
Yeah, I mean, you hit it right on the head there. It's a thing to do once, and I highly recommend it to anybody to do it
Yeah.
once. Me, I'm too old to do it twice.
No, you don't need to do it twice.
No. All right, so let's talk about all the things that have happened over the weekend. We'll start off with golf because I was really into the players, and it kind of got boring at the end. Scheffler just dominating.
Scotty Scheffler, as good as he hits it, and he didn't hit it great.
No.
But boy, can he putt.
Yep.
Can he chip and putt? I think he chipped in or hit it in the hole off the green 3 times during the tournament. And the last hole, he was just trying to make bogey because he hit it, back in the trees, and he laid out, knocked it on the green, and canned a 25-footer
right.
just to finish it off. But Scotty Scheffler is an excellent player, excellent putter, good family guy, and so forth. He's going to be, I think, number 1 in the world for a long time. I really think he's got a chance to do that.
Yeah, I do too. He's and his swing is so unorthodox.
Yeah.
It's kind of like when remember when the first time you saw Jim Furyk swing and you went, you can't win like that, and then he won majors, So, but that's kind of the way with Scheffler. He turned so much with that foot.
Let
It's
that
amazing.
right leg come
Yeah.
out. He doesn't have to hit it real straight to still make pars and birdies, though. We learned that
Yeah.
watching him over there. But there was a big crowd, and of course, 17 had 3 aces in one tournament. How about that? So
I'm still
it's fun
amazed
to
at how
watch.
many times that people do hit it in the water because it's still only 137 yards.
Well, they're going for the stick.
Yeah.
probably, is the reason. When I played that hole, I just tried to hit it in the middle.
That's what I always
Hopefully
did.
Hit it there somewhere in 2-putt and move on. But those guys go for the stick because they're capable. But they don't always do it. That's for sure.
Yep, absolutely.
right.
And then, of course, we got Gator baseball playing really well. We with Caglione hitting 2 homers again. He's got 13 homers in 18 games to start the year. That's pretty good number right there. And he's hitting .416. So
416. That's a pretty good average. Yeah, baseball is a long year sport. It's not like football where you play 12 and then go from there for hopefully 2 or 3. But baseball, you play a whole bunch of games. So, Coach, I'm sure tries to pace the guys a little bit right now. You don't want to peak this early in the season like Tennessee did.
yeah,
Tennessee peaked. They were number 1 in the nation. And then all of a sudden the tournament started. They lost 2 games in the, was it region or the district?
no regional Notre
Region,
Dame. Yeah,
Notre Dame.
in fact, that's why I have a Notre Dame baseball shirt right now.
Uh-huh. So anyway, when it's a long season, you got to sort of pace yourself, but you got to try to win every time out. But you can play a lot of guys, and you can, do some
Right.
things a little differently.
Yeah, and they've done that with. I mean, you did it to the extreme where you started Shoddy for a game, didn't you? When Danny was a senior.
No,
Cresser. Now you started
played
Cresser,
one.
yeah.
Yeah, in fact, I hate to say it, but it hurt Danny's chances to win the Heisman that year.
And this was
And
'95, right?
Yeah. Cresser had been here for 4 years as a backup, never had a chance to start. And I even asked Danny, I said, do you mind if we let Eric Cresser play against Southern Miss at home next week? And he said, no, Coach, he's been a good backup. He's a good guy, a good teammate and all that. Let's let him play. So I said, okay. So Cresser went out and set the school record for passing yards. That's how good a player he was. And fortunately, when he went up to Marshall, he had a great year.
Yeah, he
Excellent
did.
year, and they won the second-level national championship.
But that's the thing. You mentioned that may have hurt Danny with the Heisman Trophy. It was almost like after that game, people went product of the system. They started bringing that up. It's Spurrier that's doing all this. Anybody could do it. Look what Cresser did the one game he got into. But Cresser was he played in the NFL. It's not like he wasn't a quality quarterback. And if not for Danny, he would have been starting here.
Yeah, he's an excellent passer. Excellent passer. Of course, so was Danny and all the other guys here. But it was nice that Eric did have a chance to play, 5-7 years, something like that in the NFL.
Yeah, and of course, softball is seasoned. They're like baseball. They're getting ready to start conference play, and that's where everything changes. And it's kind of different in football but you do open up with non-conference foes almost always, except for the COVID year. But in basketball and baseball and softball, you build up to conference play, and then everything changes. You know, everybody knows each other. They're familiar with each other. They get madder at each other. You know, we saw this in basketball where it was just a different game when it went to conference this year.
Well, I found my favorite new assistant football coach at Florida.
Oh, you did?
Austin Armstrong.
Oh, yeah.
He wears a visor.
He does?
He said in the 3rd grade he got a Florida visor because he liked the way we did it down here at Florida, and he wore it to school. He said,
Is that right?
In Alabama, he said those Alabama people were not very happy with him wearing a Florida Gator visor, but he said, I don't care, I'm going to wear a visor. And
so this is his
he's a
dream
visor.
job.
Yeah, we got a coach wearing a visor now.
This is his dream job, to be here, right?
Oh, I don't know if it's his dream job, but it's a defensive coordinator job at a major school.
Yeah.
So it's pretty damn good for a young man 29 years old. He's
Yeah.
racing fast.
He's gonna be under the gun though, as you know. Last year's defense was terrible.
It was terrible.
Yeah,
So he's got nowhere to go but up.
that's right. That's right.
Yeah, it is a good
Is that what you told him?
I haven't talked to him. I just read that in the paper the other day.
Well, that's it's going to be interesting to see what they are able to do, and I don't know. Spring football is what did you kind of use spring football? I mean, the first spring football you had to find out who your quarterback was, right?
Quarterbacks, receivers, defense was pretty solid all the way around. But quarterbacks, receivers, learning the system and all this, that, and the other. So they threw and threw and threw and did it all summer, throw and throw and throw, and guys run routes. So when the season started in 1990, they were ready to go. Shane, Terrence Barber, Ernie Mills, Trey Everett.
Yeah.
Kirkpatrick, tight end. And, of course, Eric Red. Who's our running back from Jacksonville?
Oh, Willie McClendon.
Willie McClendon.
Yep.
Yeah. Dexter
McNabb
was right there with him.
scored the first touchdown for you. But when you got a little more established and things were, and what were you using it for then? Spring football. Well, let's say like in 94, 90. When you know what you've got. What are you trying to get out of it?
You're trying to get repetition. John Wooden, UCLA basketball, he said repetition is the law of learning and the key to consistency.
Wow.
So I said, fellas, if we're going to be any good, you better throw about 100 passes every day, run good routes. Shane, Danny, Terry, Rex, take your steps and let it go. Take your steps and let it go. So that's what we tried to do spring ball and through the summer. In the summer, they'd be out there on their own pitching. Coaches could not be out there at that time.
You know, I think they did change that rule. I think they can, like one coach can be out there now. I just started this year,
probably.
I think. Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
But yeah, that was always an issue. In fact, I remember some of Charlie Pell's coaches being watching them scrimmage.
Yeah.
They would have
Just the
scrimmages
rules, yeah.
in the swamp, and the coaches would be up in the stands. So needless to say, they got in trouble eventually. I did want to talk to you too about we talked about how both for baseball and softball it's about to get really serious. Well, it's really getting serious for gymnastics because they had their last dual meet this week, and it was actually a quad meet, and now it's SEC tournament, regionals, and everything. We have a lot of confidence in them. We love watching them, and I know you go to a lot of the meets, but I think they can do anything, whatever they want to do. But we'll see how it goes. I mean, it's always tough. You've got to be on every
The
night.
competition is tough out there.
Yeah.
That's the thing about it. We have 2 losses now, right?
Yep.
Whereas last year we had no losses going into the national championship. So we've already won the SEC.
Yep.
Even though we had a loss here or there. So the big prize is still out there.
Yeah.
Even though we have 2 losses. Yeah.
Well, they lost to LSU on the road and Oklahoma
And
on the
Oklahoma.
road. You know, it was like by this much. So, I mean, if you can turn that around, I'm sure they'll be looking for ways of it. But it'll be interesting. Also, the women are in the NIT too. They haven't announced who they're playing, but at least they get to play some more. I know she's disappointed in the season they had. They had a lot of injuries, obviously. Was a big part of it.
Yeah, we thought we might have a little bit better team, but I think one of the best players got hurt or left and come back. I'm not sure. But you know, they're in the NIT, so maybe they can make a deep run. We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, how did you? It's you never really played in lesser bowl. I guess the Gator Bowl was the smallest bowl you played in at Florida, and then, right?
Yeah, probably was. We didn't go to the Independence Bowl or the Capital One, so the Gator Bowl was probably considered the less.
Yeah, and then at South Carolina, you were always like Outback and.
Well, we went to the Independence a couple times,
you did.
and the worst one.
That was your last one, yeah.
The worst one, and it's not a knock on the people in Birmingham, but they had something called the Birmingham Bowl.
Oh, I went to it once. It is the worst one.
I'm going to tell you what, a cold front blew through. In fact, it was the end of the '89 season, and that cold front actually left some snow in the swamp. I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah,
Somebody
I do.
took a picture and sent it to me. Snow in the swamp. That was like mid-December of '89. And we played Texas Tech. They had a running back that just ran it down our throats, about 280 yards. So we got beat pretty good at the Birmingham Bowl.
Yeah, it's not much of a bowl either, believe me. We went there one time with Muschamp, and it just wasn't. By then, the stadium had just about fallen down. It was.
Well, the cold air and this, that, and the other. I don't know. I mean, they probably would have beaten us anyway, no matter where we played, because I'd already told the team I'm going to Florida tomorrow after the game. So they looked at me like, why should I listen to you anymore?
Yeah.
You're not my coach. I remember.
I do remember that game.
One of the players was coming to kickoff. He went down and loafing a little bit, and I yelled at him a little bit, and he looked at me like, you ain't my coach anymore. He didn't say it, but it was like, you ain't my coach anymore.
If there had been a
Right,
if there had been a transfer portal, then it would have worked to your advantage. They would have played harder because they wanted to come to Florida, maybe. But of course,
you get a Duke degree there, and there was only I don't know, one or two players really that I would think would want to come down that had a chance to start. One or two is about it.
Yeah. All right, we do need to get to our Campus USA play of the weekend, and I picked one out that'll be close to your heart. This shows what golf is, because Max Homa's got to go, and he birdies 10, Eagles 11, and now he comes to that par 4 right here on number 12. And you can drive it. Now watch where this ball goes.
I think it's the easiest hole on the golf
just
course
crushes
today.
it, and he's like, man, that looks good. I think
a little bit.
that's going to be really close. Boom! Hits the flag, kicks
Hit the flag stick on the
into
fly.
and then I'm going. It's going to go in the water and stop short. So he was lucky. He was beautiful. It was a beautiful swing, and then he was unlucky, and then he was lucky. That is golf in a nutshell to me. That it's about, a lot of it is about breaks, and I think all sports are like that. I think all
Long drive now.
it was
340 or something.
Yeah, I think it was 348. Yeah, but that's what it is. I mean, you've got to get some breaks along the way,
and have a good short game. And I still think Scotty Scheffler wins with his short game. Chipping it back.
But that's the way it is with everything. It's the way it is with football. Way you get a bounce here or there, and it could be the difference in a game. Last thing for you, I wanted to ask you about, because Caglione is becoming this superstar here in Gainesville with these 13 homers, monster shots. Total number of homers you ever hit in high school?
Oh, I was not a home run hitter.
I thought maybe you hit one.
We played at the minor league ballpark.
Oh.
320. I guess one or two of our guys hit some, but that wasn't in our game plan, homers. It was singles. I was a center field to right field hitter, and very seldom did I ever strike out. So
You wait on the pitch?
I was a line
Yeah.
drive. Yeah. I hit a few to left, but not many really.
So you just waited on the pitch. That's kind of the way I played softball, the same way. Waited on the pitch and hit it where the worst player is, right field. All right, Coach, that'll do it for today's show. We appreciate you coming in, and glad you had a great vacation. That was fun to talk about, too.
Have you been to spring practice football yet?
I have not yet. I've only seen a little videos.
Yeah,
so
looking forward to watching some this week.
Are you going out this week?
Well, I hope so, if the weather clears.
Yeah, it's supposed to clear. It's going to be a little chilly, though.
Okay.
But we'll talk about that next Monday, okay?
Yeah, we'll do it.
Until then, we'll be back with the rest of our stuff, including a yes, no way, or maybe special appearance by Jeff Cardozo here on another Dooley Noted podcast presented by Titan MRI from the Meldon Law Gator Studios. Hello there, everybody. I'm Pat Dooley, of course, from another Duly Noted podcast. And this is a great Adam brewer, and he's just opened up a place here, Adam Drip Co. To Go. What gave you the idea to do this, to have a to-go place like this?
We really like the fast concept, being able to get the barbecue. Now we have this new online ordering. So before it was a call ahead carry out, quick service. We have like a curbside kind of a deal where everything's ready to go for you. And then we thought, wow, we have a really great dine-in concept, but how can we make this streamlined for the customer and make it easy and accessible for all parts of town?
Adam Drip Co. To Go. Come on down and enjoy it.
Great food, great atmosphere, a diverse menu, everything made from scratch, plenty of space, and locally owned. These are all the characteristics of a great restaurant, and you can find each and every one of them right here in Gainesville at Ballyhoo Grill. Ballyhoo Grill prepares all of their food fresh every day, from their salad dressing to their award-winning soups. Bring your family and enjoy dinner under the Tim Trebo Tiki Hut while listening to live music. Or if you're running low on time to eat out, they also deliver through Uber Eats, Spite Squad, and Postmates. A Gainesville staple that's been open for over 30 years. Check out Ballyhoo Grill on Facebook or at ballyhoogrill.com.
Albert, Alberta, I understand you were witnesses to a crash. Can you tell us about the accident? When you're in a crash, it's important to get witness statements immediately after the accident. Whether you're in a car, truck, motorcycle, scooter, or even a golf cart accident, at Meldon Law, we won't back down.
Things have certainly got a little out of hand lately when it comes to just buying our everyday necessities. Just look at gas, streaming services, and heck, even chicken wings. Well, there is one necessity that shouldn't cost a ton: taking care of yourself and helping fix all the aches and pains in life, and the fine folks at Titan MRI agree. With costs a fraction of what you'd pay at a hospital, you'll not only save money, you'll be taken care of by staff with over 20 years experience. So when you need an MRI, call Titan first, and you can go where your doctors send their families. Now offering CAT scans.
Okay, welcome back to another Duly Noted podcast, and we are in a great pleasure to be joined by Jeff Cardozo. Of course, you know him from being the voice of the Gators for Gator Baseball and all the other great stuff he does, all the work he does out at Ironwood. I don't think he's working today, but he is in here for Yes, No, Where, Maybe. How are you, Jeff?
Doing awesome. Spring break for the kids, so an opportunity to get away for a day and a half maybe, and get back to baseball. SEC play starts this week, so it's that grind and getting after it again.
Yeah, well, even on a day when you're having a day off, I make you go to work. So but that's
right.
Just the way.
Anything for you, Dools.
Well, it's obviously been pretty interesting to watch all this, and I'm with you though. I mean, SEC play starts this week. We're about to find out what this team really is, but what we think it is pretty darn good.
Yeah, I think when you look at how they hit against Miami, you got to be really positive about that, because Miami then went and played NC State the next week, and NC State was undefeated. Miami beat them a couple of times. So I think when you look at some of the best in the country, Florida should be able to fare well with them, because the statistics don't lie. When you're number one in the country in hits and home runs and slugging percentage and all these other things, that means at this point of the year, 17, 18 games in, you're pretty darn good. And you would think it would translate. Now, the one question mark is with Langford being out for a few weeks, will it continue? But, I think as we've talked about a lot, this year's depth is a lot more than what we've seen from Sully in a really long time. So I think you'll have a couple of guys be able to fill that gap, and they'll be okay.
Was Langford, is it where he got hit the first time or the second time?
It is where you don't want to get hit if you are a gentleman.
Yes. Well, I saw it happen, and he was kind of laughing it off, but obviously it had lingering effects, I guess would be the best way to put it. Jeff, coming to you on the Big Mills Cheesesteaks Zoom line, and it's time for us to play Yes, No, Where, Maybe, brought to you by Big Mills Cheesesteak. Street dining done the right way. If you go in there and say you listen to another Duly Noted podcast, free French fries with your order. All right, number one. Jack Caglione breaks the record held by Laporta and Langford.
Well, I thought you said rakes at first, so I was like, yeah, that's a no-brainer. He rakes. I think that was the big question was, how much is he going to get against all the non-conference opponents, and these are opponents that he wasn't able to hit against last year. He ended up getting 7 in SEC play, so if you add the 13 to the 7, then you're probably under. You know, I think he probably gets there. You still have some midweek games and some other things that are going on. I mean, this guy's just a freak, and he's now hit 5 home runs when he's been pitching at the same time. So he can do it both ways. He'll continue to be in the lineup throughout the entire year. So there's no question in my mind he should be able to break that 26, no problem.
And again, he could go after the record held by Brandon. Well, I can't think of his name for some reason. The LSU guy.
For the SEC. But I think Pete Incaviglia one year hit like 45. Remember Inky back in the day?
No, he hit 48. That's
48. So he's got a long way to go to get there.
Yeah, and the SEC record's 40. Why can't I think of his name? The steroid guy.
Brandon Larson.
Brandon Larson, yeah. Hit 40 one year. So that would be the SEC record. All right, number 2 on Yes, Nowhere. Maybe your bracket is already a mess.
Maybe. It's going to be interesting. I actually messed around a little bit. I kind of looked at it because I'm not in any big time money ones, or at least as of yet. But I did one where I picked if somebody was playing somebody in college baseball, who would win. So the bracket's really weird. You have none of the 1 seeds that are any good because they all stink at baseball. But I messed around with that a little bit. So maybe, but I mean, you never know. Every time I think that I've got it going right and you think you've got a good plan, then somebody already beats somebody. So we'll see.
Yeah, you don't want to know what my bracket looks like because mine unfortunately has a Miami, Alabama final.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I don't think anybody would like that. And finally, number 3 on Yes, Nowhere, maybe brought to you by Big Mills Cheesesteaks. Your Will Zalatoris pick was a big mistake to win the Players.
Yes, it certainly was. But I did tell you he can't putt. So
yeah.
That was a big part of it. But he made the cut, and I think he finished last in making the cut out of everybody that ended up finishing up. But, certainly a great event. It's interesting to see, and you played that course so many times, Pat, that how easy the course can be when things are fluffed up and good, and then once the wind starts blowing and it's hard, then you can't play it at all. So it's always a fun course, and I think more than any that's on the PGA Tour, you can get into trouble on that course. And to see what Scheffler did is pretty amazing. But yes, my pick was awful in Will Zalatoris. But I only did it because he kind of looks like me and he's got a white forehead. But maybe I'll get a little sun on it today.
I picked Spieth, and he did okay. I think he shot 6 under, so it wasn't that bad, but it's still a loss. They're both L's, right?
Yep.
All right, we'll let you go and enjoy your day off, and we'll see you tomorrow for the tailgate as well.
We'll do it. And I was at Big Mills on Friday and got a great cheesesteak, all that. So it's awesome for sure.
What did you mention the podcast to get free fries?
I should have. I didn't think about it, but I still got the fries anyway, and they were awesome.
Okay. All right, my man. We'll see you later.
All right. Bye, guys.
Okay, so let's move along to our Leonardo's at Millhopper quick picks. We appreciate Leonardo so much. I was in there Friday. Had a great talk with Kyle and Tara and everybody, and fired up about them being a sponsor for the golf tournament as well, but also a sponsor for this show, which they've been since the very beginning. We appreciate them. We have a winner because we decided that to pick the SEC champion on Monday of last week, and there was only a couple of you that picked Alabama, so I had to pick between those just with a blind drawing, and the winner is, let me find it here, Jason Dressel is the winner. So Jason, I don't know if you're related to Caleb Dressel. If you are, cool. But Jason, just give me your info and I'll mail it to you, or we can meet and I can give it to you. You're get a copy of my book, Game of My Life, signed or not signed, and $25 from Leonardo's. In fact, I have to go by there again. I don't have to go by there. I love going by there, and get some more gift cards because we'll probably in about a week do another poll from the people who have qualified, and I think everybody qualified on will the Gators make the NIT, because they did, and everybody said yes they would. You guys are all a lot smarter than me. My only reason for thinking they weren't, and I got a little nervous when they were doing the show at 10 o'clock, because I want them to get in. I mean, I don't know if they want to go that much. I don't know if the players are taking the right attitude, which is, hey, let's go win this thing and let's go have fun. And, we like this 4-guard lineup. We've actually been able to do some great things with it. Let's make it work. But, sometimes guys don't want to show up for that tournament. But I would think that having UCF on the other side will help. It's almost like the sports karma gods are saying, we're going to force you to have to deal with UCF. We're going to stick you together every chance we get. All right, so the pick for this week is a very simple one. Tuesday night, it's a 9:10 game. You got all this time. If you haven't listened to the podcast by 9:10, sorry, you can't get in. But on Tuesday, again, we're talking about Tuesday. Today's Monday when I'm doing the show. Mississippi State, Pittsburgh. First round, NCAA. Probably won't even start at 9:10. Probably start later. You have plenty of time to get in, to listen to this and get it in. All you got to do is give me a pick who wins a game. That'll be a fun game to watch. That's one of those. I'm at the point I'm going to be staying up for a lot of basketball. I'll tell you that much. Very late at night. So that is our Leonardo's and Millhopper quick picks. Let's get to our Adams Ribco to go. Gator of the weekend. A lot of choices. A ton of choices. Sometimes it's almost, they do with like MVPs. They go, hey, he's won it enough times. So I do a little bit of that. You're not supposed to do that, right? Especially if you're picking the MVP of the league, you're supposed to pick the most valuable player. You aren't supposed to do what they did to Tebow in 2008 when he should have won the Heisman and didn't. But he had already won it in 2007 and had as good a year. I never understood that. Let us get to the Adams Ribco to go Gator of the weekend. And the Gator of the weekend is going to be the entire gymnastics team led by Leanne Wong, who won the all-around. So we'll make it Leanne Wong, but the entire team. Because they went to it was an interesting meet. It wasn't televised. It was in Denton, Texas. Texas, believe it or not, and I did a big story on this a few years ago, is the gymnastics capital of the world. I mean, that's where everybody goes to train. That's where everybody comes up, is in Texas. Not everybody, but a lot of people do. And you see all these great gymnasts that are from clubs in Texas. So anyway, they went there. They had a quad meet. And why would you do that? Why would you have a quad meet? It's actually a pretty brilliant move because when you're in the NCAAs or even the regionals and the SECs, there's always 4 events going on at the same time. And you don't deal with that during the season. Now you get to deal with it one more time. And what did Florida do? They had their highest score of the year, or second highest, 198.175, led by Leanne Wong. And Trinity Thomas had another great meet. They're ready for it. They're ready for what's coming up, and that is all the things that matter. I mean, no, winning. That's not right. Winning a regular season title does matter. That's the one that counts on the I don't even know what they call it now. What the All Sports Award. I don't know if it's Gannett. I guess it is. I don't know what it is. Anyway, but it is important. But these are the meets that you're going to be remembered for. And it's going to be a lot of fun to watch. But the Florida gym team, the Gators of the weekend. It is time for our Hesser and Kipke 3 things. And Hesser and Kipke, as you know, is a Gainesville law firm specializing in the areas of workers' compensation and family law. Ken and Jennifer take great pride in their one-to-one focus on each and every client they represent. Ken is a board certified in workers' compensation law by the Florida Bar, while Jennifer possesses extensive jury trial experience with a nearly 20-year background as a prosecutor. Don't believe me? Check out their more than 55 five-star reviews, or better yet, give them a call at 359-339-9920. Hesser and Kipke. Number 1 was what we talked about a little bit with Coach Spurrier. Scotty Scheffler back to number 1. He's number 1 basically because John Rahm had to pull out with the stomach flu. Having had the stomach flu in the last year, I can tell you, pulling out of a tournament is something you should do. You pull out of life is what you do if you get it as bad as I did and probably as bad as he did. It's good to know it wasn't food poisoning, but stomach flus they come and they're terrible. But so Rahm had to pull out before the second round, and that opened the door for Scheffler. But I don't know how much we care about who's number one. All we care about are the 4 majors and then a few other tournaments, and that's pretty much it for golf, But Scheffler is now number 1 again, and probably will be again. Number 2, it's pretty clear that if you get kicked out of coaching, if you are a bad person, and I've got to put this the right way because it's for different reasons, you're going to get another job. It's just a matter of time or a matter of how low you want to go. The latest, Will Wade, known cheater, admitted cheater, got fired at LSU. They for some reason they wouldn't fire him, but they finally fired him after it just got to be insurmountable evidence that he had cheated like crazy. Now is the new head coach at McNeese State. Now that's how low he was willing to go, to McNeese State. We know that Hugh Freeze, who cheated like nobody cheated, he's a great cheater. Cheated on his wife, cheated on getting players. That's a double cheat. Ended up going as low as Liberty, and now it worked out for him. He ends up at Auburn. And I think that's obviously the path Will Wade wants to go. Chris Beard, who, of course, was not a cheater, but he was and he was never convicted, and the charges were dropped. But something happened there. I mean, I don't know what it was. And I'm not there. I can't really be a judge. But it is a risky move to make a hire. But Ole Miss is hiring him to be their basketball coach. He's a great coach. It's the kind of move that Florida would never make. And there's part of me that admires Florida for it. And there's a little part of me that goes, maybe you should. Maybe you should just go get somebody like that and not worry about it. Rick Pitino, who's had nothing but scandals in his life and championships, is at Iona, and he's in I think they're in the NIT, yeah. Or maybe they're in the NCAA. No, they're in the NCAA tournament, I think. Well, I've got it right here because I wrote it all down. So I know I can look it up. Yeah, Iona's in the NCAA tournament, so that's not going to happen. But there are several people after him, including St. John's, who fired their coach. And so, yeah, I had to go to Iona, win some games, got him into the tournament, and that's what he'll do for you. And now he'll move on from there. But it is a path. There's 2 paths to go. Either you sit out a year, you do TV, you get and like Tom Crean. Tom Crean's pretty good at TV. He's a terrible coach. He had a good year when he had Dwayne Wade. I think that was the Dwayne Wade team. But anyway, at Georgia, he was awful. But now he goes to ESPN for a year. Then you come back and you coach Georgia Southern. And then you get to the tournament there, and then you move up. There's that path. Or there's the path that, hey, just wait till everybody forgets. Eventually, people go, nah, it's not what I want, but I'll take him because he's a good coach. It's kind of interesting there. All right, and finally, number 3 on Hesser and Kipke, 3 things. The Panthers and the Bears, this all happened Friday night, of course. And, obviously the Bears traded the number 1 pick to the Panthers. Panthers gave them a ton of players. I think it's one of those rare win-wins unless they screw it up. And now I think there's a lot of people trying to put 2 and 2 together. Sometimes you put 2 and 2 together, it doesn't always equal 4. Because don't forget, the most success Carolina had was with a quarterback named Cam Newton, right? Anthony Richardson is more athletic than Cam Newton, which is hard to believe anybody is. Cam Newton eventually learned how to be an accurate quarterback. Anthony Richardson needs to learn how to do it, and people are trying to put 2 to 2 together and do that. If you traded all those players and all those draft picks up to get the number 1 pick in the draft and you take Anthony Richardson, I mean, it may work out great, but it is a risky pick, man. I wouldn't do that, personally. I hope it happens for them. Florida's never had a number 1 pick. Highest they've had is 2, I believe. Yeah, I think somebody went 2nd or 3rd. And anyway, they never had a number 1 pick. So that'll be interesting to see if that happens. All right, that is our Hesser and Kipke 3 things. Let us get to our Ben Eige Odell Realty games of the week, and we got plenty of games to choose from. If Friday we did the house of the week, so We'll do another one again. We'll try to keep that on Fridays. If you want to look back on the Friday, it was in Asheville. I know that. I remember that. It was really sounded like a great house. Appreciate Ben Eige and Odell Realty. Tuesday, we mentioned. I'm not going to give you all the games. I mean, there's 32, 34 games or something the first week. I'm just going to give you the highlights. Tuesday is a great game. Pittsburgh versus Mississippi State. Can't wait to see it. I thought Pittsburgh would get a higher seed than they got, but that is at 9:10 and it's on True TV. Now, this is something that is part of March Madness. Everybody has to find out where True TV is. They have no idea because not many of us watch Impractical Jokers all the time, and I think that's the only show they have. But True TV is where that game is. Also on True TV Wednesday, another game that I think will be great, Nevada, Arizona State. These are NCAA games. Of course, the Gators play Wednesday on ESPN2 at 7 o'clock against UCF in the NIT. Thursday, I think the best game is the 4:30 Illinois-Arkansas game on TBS. That would be the best game to me. And we'll have a lot to talk about Friday about the games that have taken place. Can't wait for that. Baseball, Florida plays North Florida Tuesday at 6 o'clock. And then the Alabama series starts on Thursday. So that is a game of the week because it's not a weekend game, but it's a Thursday game, starts at 7 o'clock. Those games are all on ESPN Plus as well. Softball has Bucknell Wednesday at 6 o'clock. And then I think they have Missouri this weekend. I think it is. I'll have to look that up. I'll tell you about it on the Ben Eige Odell Realty Games of the Week end, which we'll do on Friday's show. Friday, again, Dennis Stott will be joining us. That'll be cool. All right. I think we got everything except for, of course, what we love to close with, the Pat Dooley Storytime brought to you by Eastlake Pediatrics. And my love for the NCAA tournament knows no bounds. I love watching it, but I loved being at it. I do miss, the things I don't miss, we've already talked about a million times about being a sports writer. One thing I do miss is going to the tournament. I love it. I love the black curtains and everything. All the rugs are blue. The carpeting is blue, and you have this great work area, and there's all kinds of people, and you see people you haven't seen in a while, or you see people and then you see the excitement. It's nothing like being at the tournament. One year, Florida didn't make it to the tournament. I think this might have been Billy's last year. It might have been, yeah. And I said, I got to go to the tournament. So there were games being played in Jacksonville. I got a credential. I covered the game, and it was the one where the coach was on the walker, not a walker, but he's a wheel around thing. I don't know what you call those. And because he had torn his Achilles, and his son hit the game-winning shot. I think they beat Missouri, maybe. Seems like it was. Could have been somebody else. But it was a big team. It was a big upset. And I covered the game, and it was so great. I actually did a lot of radio shows. People wanted to know who was at the game. Pat Dooley was there. Let's get him on there. So I love it. That's how much I love the tournament. In fact, the story I'm going to tell you is a quick one, and it involved my wife. I'm at the SEC tournament. Florida gets beat in the semifinal, and I'm watching ESPN that night. Florida's in the tournament. They're barely in, but they're in. And all of a sudden, the crawl comes across, and Leonardo, first four out, Florida. I'm like, oh, no, man. The guy's usually pretty good, first four out, Florida. So I'm in a jar, man. I don't even go. I usually go cover the game the next day, the SEC championship game, but Florida's not in it. I said, no, I'm just going to write from the hotel. I'll write. So I wrote this entire column. It was 30 inches long about why Florida didn't make the NCAA tournament and what a shame it is, blah, 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 blah. Pretty good column, actually. I wish I still had it. And then the selection show comes on, and Florida's in. And they're going to Oklahoma City, one of my favorite places in the world. I've been there so many times for softball. And I'm like, holy cow, I can't believe it. I don't watch any more of the selection show. I call my wife, and I scream into the phone, they're in, they made it, and it's in Oklahoma City, and it wasn't even that close. They were at 10 seats, so they weren't even on 11 seats. And I'm screaming all this stuff at her. She goes, Pat, I'm in church. I said, oh, sorry. I'll call you later. I was so excited. But she was in the back area. They had an area for if you had kids. So Kelsey was with her there. But anyway, that's how much I love the NCAA. It's not about the Gators for me. Now, it was at times, obviously, but it was about going to the tournament. I loved being at the tournament. All right, that's going to do it for our show today. Busy show. Coach Spurrier was on. Our great friend Jeff Cardozo subbing in for Robbie Andrew. Robbie's on vacation too. Everybody's having a good time this spring break except me. I'm doing a show. But hopefully everybody enjoyed it. We'll be back with a show again Friday. Thanks to Jared for doing another wonderful job. Till next time, I'm Pat Dooley. I am deep, I'm way back, and I am out of here.